Competing in tonight's heat are Eric Conway, a Royal Marine Commando from Yeovilton in Somerset. Neil Haynes, a prison officer from Castleford, West Yorkshire. Chris Hudson, a geologist from St Albans. And Ian Pettit, a triathlon liaison officer from Deal in Kent.
Good evening and welcome to the last heat. It should be a tremendous battle, so let's get started with round one, mental agility. And the theme of tonight's test is preceding elements. I will give each contestant a mixture of elements. These will include months, days, letters, odd numbers, and colours of the spectrum. The task for the contestant is to give me back the elements which immediately precede them. So, for example, if I was to say October indigo 15, the correct response would be September, because it precedes October, blue, because it comes immediately before indigo in the spectrum, and 13, because it's the odd number that precedes 15. And I emphasise we're only dealing in odd numbers. That's the test. Now let's welcome the contestant who will tackle it first. He's a 30-year-old Royal Marine Commando from Yeovilton, Somerset, Eric Conway. Welcome to you, Eric. There are 40 seconds on the clock. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Then good luck. The clock starts now. Yellow.
Orange.
5.
3.
L.
K.
February.
January.
ER.
D. Q.
Wednesday, Friday.
Tuesday, Thursday.
Green, October.
Yellow. September.
13, Sunday.
11, Saturday.
CNU.
Pass.
July, blue, 19.
June. Green. 17.
Thursday, 21, Q.
Wednesday, 19. P.
3, August, U. Don't need to answer that. Would have been 1 July T, but in 40 seconds you scored 10, which is a brilliant start for you, Eric. Well done. Take your seat, please. Our second contestant is from Castleford, West Yorkshire. Let's welcome 28-year-old prison officer Neil Haynes. Welcome to you, Neil. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
And the very best of luck, and the clock starts now. Violet.
Indigo.
11.
9.
R.
Q.
November.
October.
PH.
Next.
Saturday, Tuesday.
Friday, Monday.
Yellow, March.
Orange, February.
7, Monday.
5, Sunday.
FUV.
ETW.
Wrong. April, indigo, 23.
March, blue, 21.
Friday, 35H.
Thursday, 33G.
You're right, but alas, the bleeper there just beat you to it. But in 40 seconds, you scored 8, which is very good indeed. Well done, Neil. Take your seat. Now for our third contestant this evening. He's a 38-year-old geologist from St Albans, Chris Hudson. Welcome, Chris. Are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Then good luck. The clock starts now. Blue.
Pass.
7.
5.
L.
K.
August.
July.
ZB.
YA.
Thursday, Monday.
Wednesday, Sunday.
Yellow, November.
Orange, October.
21, Wednesday.
19, Tuesday.
GIT.
FHS.
December, orange, 27.
November, red, 25.
Thursday, 43E.
Wednesday, 41D.
Well, you got it right, but you were a fraction too late on it, I'm sorry. But in 40 seconds, you scored 9, which is excellent. Well done, Chris. Take your seat. And finally, let's bring on our fourth contestant from Deal in Kent, 36-year-old triathlon liaison officer Ian Pettit. Welcome to you, Ian. 40 seconds on the clock. Are you ready?
I am.
Good luck. The clock starts now. Indigo.
Green.
Wrong. 15.
13.
S.
R.
May.
April.
MK.
N. J.
Wrong. Tuesday, Sunday.
Monday, Saturday.
Violet, June.
Yellow. May.
Wrong. 17, Friday.
15, Thursday.
PVE.
U. P. D.
Wrong. September, green, 31.
August. Indigo. 69.
Wrong. Well, just a little bit of trouble on the colours there, but in 40 seconds you got 5. Well done, Ian. Take your seat, please. Well, the toughest start to any programme and some good scores there. Let's go to the scoreboard to see how the points worked out. And there we have it. In 4th place with 2 points, Ian. In 3rd place with 4, Neil. In 2nd place with 6 points, Chris. And the winner of the round and the early leader with a Krypton Factor of 10, the Royal Marine Commando from Yeovilton, Somerset, Eric Conway.
Round 2 features the Boeing 737 aircraft. Inside British Midlands Flight Training Simulator, we challenge our contestants to take the controls and, guided by the aircraft's flight director instrument, land at an international airport, all assessed by Captain Roger Wise. First to go is Marine Commando Eric Conway, and the approach is into Marseille. And doing well so far. The vertical and horizontal bars of the flight director forming a perfect cross, so he's in the ideal position. And by nudging the control column in the same direction as the bars move, he can keep on a perfect line. Just beginning to overreact on the control column for direction and not descending enough. If he doesn't take corrective action quickly, he'll run out of runway. But down he comes now fairly rapidly. And that's a very good recovery, and he lands on the centre line halfway down the runway. Well done, Eric. Now Neil Haynes from Castleford, and he's in a bit of trouble here. He's pushed the nose down too far, and the horizontal bar rises above the centre point, instructing him to pull back a bit on the control column. Also needs to bank left a little. And as he does so, the vertical bar moves back to the centre, telling him he's done enough. This has been a pretty good recovery. Coming down now to the runway, but beginning to drift left. And in fact, he's going to run off it, but nonetheless, safely down Neil Haynes. Next, it's Chris Hudson from St Albans, and descending smoothly. He's keeping the vertical and horizontal bars crossing right over the centre point. That's the object at this stage. He's really flying the bars rather than via what he sees out of the window. Just about now, he raises his eyes and looks at the runway, and that's often the moment when panic sets in. He's holding his nerve, and that's a very good landing on the runway. Well done, Chris. And finally, Ian Pettit from Deal. Well, he's drifted to the right of the runway, so the directional vertical bar moves slightly left of centre, indicating that he should turn the control column that way. And he's following it now, getting back on line, making constant corrections on the control column, and approaching the runway at about 140 miles an hour. That's landing speed. And he's just nudged the control column left instead of right there, which means he goes onto the grass, but safely down Ian Pettit. Now, here's how Captain Wise scored it. 4th, Neil Haynes, slightly erratic in direction and descent, but corrected well to land, though running off the runway, 2 points. 3rd, Ian Pettit. He made a more controlled approach, but a wrong input at the end led to a landing just off the runway, 4 points. 2nd, Eric Conway, an excellent performance until the end when he stayed too high and landed well down the runway, 6 points. And the winner, Chris Hudson, again excellent handling all the way, and he made a good landing near the centre of the runway, 10 points. Now, those points are transferred to the scoreboard, and it means we now have joint leaders with Krypton Factors of 16. Still there, Royal Marine Commando Eric Conway, and joining him, St Albans geologist Chris Hudson.
So the battle really on as we move into round 3, and what we're looking for is our contestants' ability to have total recall of a sequence of events witnessed earlier. Coming up, episode 11 of our thriller starring Tony Slattery, Katie Puckrick and Roger Lloyd-Pack. Last week, the evil doctor attempted to gas amnesia victim Alec Fenton and friend Sue. They escaped just as the house blew up. Contestants, would you turn to your screens now, please, for the next gripping episode of Dead Ringer.
Look, I thought I told you.
I don't care what you told me to do. Where's your husband?
Well, I don't know.
That's not good enough.
Look, I don't know. We've not been together for 2 years. Listen, I'm not involved
Involved in what, Mrs. Palmer? Fraud?
Look, just go away.
Go where? To the police, perhaps?
Look, what do you want to see my husband about?
Well, I don't know. There are so many questions. It's a bit difficult to know where to begin.
What exactly does he do?
Well, he's a businessman. Financial services, insurance, 1 or 2 leisure concerns.
And 1 or 2 enemies, perhaps.
I've no idea. Why?
Because somebody's trying to kill him. Yes, well, I'm sure I'd be able to shrug it off as well, except that whoever it is keeps on mistaking me for him.
God, you must be thick.
And why is that?
My husband, Mr. Whatever your name is a very devious, unscrupulous man.
You don't like your husband very much, do you?
Oh, right, little Sherlock Holmes you are.
So maybe it's you who's trying to get him killed.
He cut me out of his will the day after he left me. I'd rather stay married. That way I'm rich and miserable rather than happy and poor.
Look, who hired me?
Ask him.
Well, tell me where he is and I will.
Well, knowing him, he's probably out in South America by now. What are you doing here?
I don't believe it.
I know. It's uncanny, isn't it? I believe Alec and I are what are commonly referred to as dead ringers.
What happens next? Watch next week. And our thanks there to Linda Lasardi, who joined our regular stars again. Now, contestants, reach for your keypads, please. They will record how you voted and how quickly you vote. And coming up, 6 questions. Here's the first one. In the first scene, what implement did the gardener take out of the wheelbarrow? You have 5 seconds in which to vote. Here are your options. Time's up, and the answer is B, a lawn rake. Question number 2. How long did Mrs. Palmer say she and her husband had not been together? Your choices. And the answer to that is D, 2 years. Question number 3. What colour were Mrs. Palmer's shoes? Time's up. The answer A, white. On to question number 4. Mrs. Palmer described her husband as devious, and what else? And the answer is C, unscrupulous. Question number 5. At what stage did Mrs. Palmer say her husband had cut her out of his will? And the answer is B, the day after he left me. And finally, question number 6. To where did Mrs. Palmer think her husband had run off? The answer to that is D, South America. Right, and immediately via the computer we have the result for the round, and I can tell you that one contestant has got all the questions right. Here's how it all worked out. Eric, you got 3 right and finished 4th, 2 points. Ian, you got 4 correct and are 3rd, 4 points. Chris, 5 right for you and 2nd place, 6 points. But congratulations, Neil, you got all 6 correct and win the round, 10 points. And that's going to close things up as we go to the scoreboard. And there is Neil on 16, Eric down to 2nd place on 18, but clear in the lead with a Krypton Factor of 22, the geologist from St Albans, Chris Hudson.
An all-male lineup, so they all start together. It should be a great race. From the left in red, Eric Conway. Then in green, Neil Haynes. In yellow, Chris Hudson. And on the far side in blue, Ian Pettit. But the Royal Marine Commando, Eric Conway, nearest to us, and he makes a terrible mistake on the balance there. Just manages to cling on. Had he come off, he'd had to go back and do that again. But Ian Pettit on the far side, just in the lead at the moment, and Chris Hudson in yellow there, and well, he goes down on his back. He just didn't let go of the rope, but into the switchback, and it's Eric Conway, Neil Haynes in the middle, Ian Pettit at the far side, driving themselves going like absolute express trains at the moment. And we are expecting one of the great duels on this assault course between Eric Conway, the Royal Marine Commando, and on the far side, Ian Pettit, the triathlon liaison officer. Both men have competed in Ironman contests. That's swimming 2.4 miles, followed by 112 miles on a bicycle, and completed by a marathon, all non-stop. So they are really in the Super League. Neil Haynes just behind them in third place, ahead of Chris Hudson, who made the early error. And over into the cargo net, not much to choose between them, but Eric just slips there, his foot went through the rope. And really it's mistakes like that that could separate these two. They're pushing themselves to the absolute limit, and if they don't concentrate, then those sort of errors can actually spoil their momentum, and that could be the difference between the two of them. But down the S-bend at the moment are just letting themselves fall down there. Absolutely no worries at all about bruises. They just fell down and are pushing themselves, driving themselves relentlessly on, fiercely competitive, looking across at each other all the time, not giving an inch. Ian on the far side managed the British age group contingent at the World Triathlon Championships recently. He's a former school teacher, maths and games were his subjects, and they're absolutely together, going to the top of the A-frame then, and expertly flipping over. Eric, a sergeant in the Royal Marines, PT every day with his men, so there's no doubting his fitness, and the two of them are just giving us a brilliant example now of how to run an assault course. And here's a separate battle going on for third place between Chris Hudson and Neil Haynes. But which of these two is going to win it? And it looks like Eric has just got the edge. In fact, Ian stumbles coming out of the water there, so is he beginning to tire or not? And it's Chris Hudson just ahead of Neil Haynes in the battle for third and fourth. But Ian trying to stay with Eric, and he's gone through the rope. That's a tragedy for him. Almost fell through the Burma rope bridge, and that's really set him back as Eric sets off now down towards the water. And Ian will be furious with himself for making that error. But Eric, the big splashdown, and an awful lot of water goes into his face there, but maybe that's just what he needed to freshen himself up for the last obstacle. Ian into the water now, but he's well behind, and no commando's going to give up this lead with only a few yards to go as Chris struggles to hang on to third there from Neil Haynes. But what a disappointment for Ian. He would have loved to have been battling it out right to the end, and it's Eric who takes the tape and 10 points. Magnificent run by him, but it was in fact one of the great duels on the assault course, and I suppose it was on the cards that a mistake would have decided it in the end. But this has been a great race for third and fourth as well. In fact, it might have won any other heat, so Chris Hudson comes home to take 4 points in third place, followed by Neil Haynes. Tremendous race, and now we go to the scoreboard, and that assault course victory by Eric means we've got a new leader with a Krypton Factor of 28, Eric Conway.
Coming up, a three-dimensional logic problem. So contestants, to your positions, please. Their task is to construct hexagons with a rainbow influence. Each of them has been given 11 separate pieces of the puzzle consisting of coloured nodes and black connectors. These must all be joined together to form 3 hexagonal structures whose corners form the colours of the rainbow in order from top to bottom. Are you all ready, contestants? The test starts now.
And just to refresh your memories about the rainbow colours in order, from top to bottom in this test, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. So Eric right to start with indigo and violet at the base. But Neil wrong. He's building it upside down at the moment. Those 2 colours should be at the top. Chris, he's doing very well, has 3 of the 7 colours correctly in place. And Ian, well, he's got the yellows to the right correct, but to the left upside down, and now compounding the error. But Eric Conway looks close to finishing. He had a 2-point lead going into the round, so a win here would put him in a very strong position. And here's the man who would suffer most, Chris Hudson, second overall going into the round. The green and yellows there are the wrong way round, so that's why the top doesn't fit. And it looks like Eric's done it. Bit of commando's strength to knock that last pole into place. He checks it, but it's absolutely right. 10 points to Eric Conway. Now the battle for 6 points, and the pressure showing on Chris. Neil Haynes in all sorts of trouble here. The colour's not in the right order, even if he's building it upside down. But it's Ian Pettit, I think, who's going to snatch second place. Yes, indeed. It's all correct and solid. 6 points to Ian. So it's now between Neil and Chris for third place. And I believe Chris has solved the problem with the yellow and green colours. Yes, the top slot's in, but real disappointment there.
Well, congratulations to Eric. Those were the points he wanted to stretch his lead with 1 round to go. Let's go to the scoreboard. And there he is, 8 points ahead, with a Krypton Factor now of 38. The Royal Marine Commando from Yeovilton, Eric Conway. Into the 6th and final round. At the end of the contest, we will know the complete lineup for next week's Group C final. The winner is guaranteed to be there, and if tonight's second-place contestant is to take the spot reserved for the highest-scoring runner-up in the group, he needs to beat 40 points. So they know what to aim for. Coming up, 90 seconds of rapid-fire general knowledge questions to be answered on the buzzer. 2 points for a correct answer and 2 points deducted for a wrong answer. Good luck to you all. The clock starts now. Which sea separates Saudi Arabia from Egypt and the Sudan? Chris?
Red Sea.
Correct. Which term for a deep red colour of hair is also an edible nut with a prickly case? Chris?
Cochamel.
No, chestnut. At which service in Chester Cathedral on the 16th of April this year did the Queen distribute money? Chris?
Chester.
No, the Maundy service. The newspaper Le Monde has been published in which capital city since 1944? Chris?
Paris.
Correct. Parricide literally means murder of whom? The answer is father or parent. Which former Prime Minister became Father of the House of Commons after the 1992 general election? Answer is Sir Edward Heath. Which actor who played Heathcliff in a 1970 film and later starred as James Bond in The Living Daylights and A License to Kill? Eric?
Timothy Dalton.
Correct. In which US state are Dalton, Savannah, Augusta and Atlanta? Chris?
Georgia.
Correct. Which author whose middle name was George wrote Kipps, The Invisible Man and The War of the Worlds? Chris?
H.G. Wells.
Correct. Who partnered Henry Wells when they set up a mail and courier service in 1852 in the USA? Ian?
Fargo.
Correct. Which day's child has far to go in the nursery rhyme? The answer is Thursday. Which firth lies between Thurso in Scotland and the Orkney Islands? The answer is Pentland Firth. Penthouse Gallery and Grill are part of the court. That's it, the end of the round, the end of the contest. And the winner tonight with a Krypton Factor of 40, the Royal Marine Commando from Yeovilton, Somerset, Eric Conway. And our warmest congratulations go to Eric on that splendid victory. And we now, of course, can reveal the complete lineup for next week's Group C final. And it is Andrew Craig from London, the winner of Heat 1. The Heat 2 winner, Peter Foreman from Derbyshire. Tonight's winner, Eric Conway from Somerset. And the place for the group's highest-scoring runner-up goes to Ross Truhella from North Wales, second in Heat 2. But for now, from all the contestants here, and from me, good night.
And the Krypton Factor returns at the same time on Monday, but stay with us as 3 more teams step up to the hockey for a bit of bully next.